All praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahawashi, Bahashem Warakakodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect throughout the four corners of this whole entire earth, no matter where, whom they may be, or what they may look like. To the rest of the church who believe as well, including you women. To the dead in Yahawashi also. The water to Yahawashi, because without him enduring and going to that cross for the nation of Israel, none of this would even be possible, period, point blank, whatsoever. All right. So I'm going to go to the book of Ezekiel, chapter 2, and verse 3. And he said unto me, Son of man, I send thee to the children of Israel, to a rebellious nation that hath rebelled against me. They and their fathers have transgressed against me, even unto this day. For they are impudent children and stiff-hearted. I do send thee unto them, and thou shalt say unto them, Thus saith the Lord God. And they, whether they will hear, or whether they will forbear, for they are a rebellious house, yet shall know that there hath been a prophet among them. And thou, son of man, be not afraid of them, neither be afraid of their words. Though briars and thorns be with thee, and thou dost dwell among scorpions, be not afraid of their words, nor be dismayed at their lucks, though they be a rebellious house. So the nation of Israel is a very rebellious people, and our people are very aggressive. Our people can be very intimidating, and when you have a group of Jake congregated in wickedness coming up against you because you're speaking in truth, you have to have the spirit of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahawashi to have that boldness about yourself. Although our people are wicked and they don't listen, the day will come where they will realize a prophet was among them, and they're going to pay for their wicked sins. And we don't come to speak our own words. We've come to speak the words of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahawashi. Okay? Now this is verse 7, Ezekiel 2 and 7. And thou shalt speak my words unto them, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear, for they are most rebellious. So we come speaking the words of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahawashi. You can't follow after man. If man gives you some kind of knowledge, he claims to be a teacher or a leader, he should be able to have the scriptures to back up what he's doing. Okay? Now, our people want us to freestyle and just come off the dome and say things that we feel. And that's not our job. Our job is to speak the words that the Heavenly Father told us to speak. I'm going to read 7 again. This is important. Ezekiel chapter 2 and verse 7. And thou shalt speak my words unto them, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear, for they are most rebellious. So now I'm going to go to the book of Jeremiah. See if I can find this one. This is Jeremiah chapter 5 and verse 14. Wherefore thus saith the Lord, power of hosts. Also, going into that word hosts, the Lord power of armies. Okay. Because ye speak this word, behold, I will make my words in thy mouth fire. So the Lord is going to make his words in our mouth fire. So we're not freestyling, telling you how we feel. That's why we always bring out scriptures. Okay. So in this society, following man is real popular, but that's going to get a lot of people destroyed. But then you'll have some say, well, aren't you a man? Why should we listen to you? Well, we're speaking Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahawashi's words. Okay. Wherefore thus saith the Lord power of hosts, because ye speak this word, behold, I will make my words in thy mouth fire, and this people wood, and it shall devour them. So just like how when you look at hip hop, you have rap battling. You have two men going against each other, battling each other using words. Okay? So in that sense, hip hop has a lot in common with the scriptures because people in hip hop, they make words their weapon, or they can make words their weapon. Words can break people down. Okay, there are freestyle battles where somebody will battle against somebody in a freestyle rap, and somebody will end up wanting to fight over it because these words are like fire, man. Okay, and these scriptures is like a two-edged sword, so it's sharp on both sides. So when you're controlling that sword, when you're swinging it, you want to make sure that you're trained enough in war that when that sword comes back around, you don't cut yourself or cut your own limbs off trying to cut down your opponent, trying to cut down your enemy. So we have the word, but we also have to apply the word so that we don't get cut by the word. Okay? And we're still men, and we're going to go off. Okay? This is the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 11 and verse 1. Be ye followers of me, even as I also am of Mashiach. So, although we say, according to the scriptures, you are not supposed to follow men, but at the same time, you're supposed to follow men in this truth because those men are following Yahawashi. So by default, that means you're following Yahawashi. You have men out there who will say, well, you guys worship the elders and the apostles and all this and that. Just because we reverence our teachers, just because we give double honors to our teachers, as the scriptures tell us to do, we're not going off. And yet we are following men in righteousness because we follow men who follow Yahawashi. So by default, we're following Yahawashi. Just like if you're in a line of people, you're all following one another, but ultimately you're all following the man who's in the front of everybody. And that man that's in front of all of us is Yahawashi. Be ye followers of me, even as I also am of Mashiach. Okay? So yes, you're not supposed to follow man and follow doctrines of man, but you're supposed to follow men who follow Yahweh by Shem Yahawashi because you have to be led by example. This is 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 20. For what glory is it if, when ye be buffeted for your faults, ye shall take it patiently? But if when ye do well and suffer for it, ye take it patiently, this is acceptable with God. For even hereunto were ye called, because Christ also suffered for us, leaving us an example that ye should follow his steps. Okay, so you are to follow us just as we follow Yahawashi. Okay, you have to follow Yahawashi's steps. And Yahawashi's steps are being followed based off the men who are living according to his word. Okay, and other men are learning off of other men because that's how Yahweh Bashem Yahawashi is working, man. He's working through Israelite men. But ultimately, you can't put your faith in man to save you. You can't put your faith in doctrines of this world to save you. Okay? You put your confidence in man, that's going to be a major disappointment and a major setback. This is Proverbs chapter 25 and verse 19. Confidence in an unfaithful man in time of trouble is like a broken tooth and a foot out of joint. Ooh, that's crazy, man. So you putting faith, you having confidence in someone who's unfaithful, that's not a good look because they ain't going to come through for you. You basically setting yourself up for failure, man. Imagine trying to chew on a broken tooth. Imagine trying to run and your foot is out of joint. You know how uncomfortable and painful that will be? You putting confidence in an unfaithful man, you're going to have a very uncomfortable end. You're not supposed to put your confidence in man, but put your confidence in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahawashi. But you're also supposed to follow the men who follow after Yahawashi. because we're in the same stead as Yahawashi. Okay? And a lot of people make excuses. Oh, see, you can't serve man like that. You can't follow man. You're not supposed to. You're right. You're not supposed to follow man if they're not leading you in the way of the scriptures. Okay? But the scriptures also tell you in 1 Corinthians to please all men. All right? And part of pleasing all men is to follow those men who are in the stead, who are basically following after Yahawashi. Okay? Because authority was given to the men of the Lord. The men of the Lord aren't normal men. So those are the men to follow in righteousness, as long as they're doing the right thing in righteousness. Okay? But ultimately, we're following Yahawashi. Mark 13:34, for the Son of Man is a man taking a far journey, who left his house and gave authority to his servants, and to every man his work, and commanded the porter to watch. So Yahawashi gave authority to his disciples, man. And there's more than 12. All right? Each one of the 144,000, whomever they may be, those are all the Lord's disciples, man. Those are all followers of Yahweh and Yahawashi. But anyone who's putting their trust in man, following man who have no doings with Yahawashi, you're cursed. Okay? You got to put your faith in Yahweh and only Yahweh. And that's how you'll end up blessed. Okay? This is the book of Psalms, chapter 34. I'm going to go down to verse 8. O taste and see the Lord is good. Blessed is the man that trusteth in him. Okay? So you got to trust in Yahweh. You can't trust in man. And if you follow man, you have to make sure those men are following after Yahweh by Hashem Yahawashi. Okay? Because we all have to learn from somebody. We all have been led by examples, man. No matter what you see in this world, whether it be rap music, whether it be sports, whether it be doctors, teachers, whatever path that people choose, which ultimately is from the Lord, someone else led by example and inspired them to want to take that journey. So us being in this truth, although you're not to follow man, you are to follow man who follow Yahawashi, because there has to be an example set forth. Okay? But we can't put our faith in man to save us. We can't put our faith in ourselves to save us. Okay? It's all about the mercies of Yahweh by Hashem Yahawashi, and hoping he has that great mercy upon you and me and others in this truth. Okay? But we also know everything is about order according to 1 Corinthians 14:40. And if everything is about order, doesn't that show that you're to follow men who follow Yahawashi? Everything has to be done decent and in order. Okay, so I'm going ahead and close it out right there. Lord willing, this lesson was simple, because I like to keep it as simple as possible and edifying. Ka halal Yahweh by Hashem Yahawashi. Shalom.